given van der Waals constant for ammonia, hydrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide as 4.17, 0.244, 1.36 and 3.59. Yes. Which one of the following gases is most easily liquefied? Options are oxygen, hydrogen, ammonia, carbon dioxide. So the question is, van der Waals constant for ammonia, hydrogen, oxygen and carbon dioxide are given. So here we must know that A corresponds to intermolecular forces of attraction. So greater the value of A, here the values that is corresponding is for the value of A. Greater the value of A, what does it mean? High will be intermolecular attraction, right? Intermolecular attraction. What is it telling you? It is telling that if A value is greater, all the molecules will be closer. The force of attraction is more. So see in which of these the value is greater. In this, ammonia has the value as 4.17. What does that mean? That means the molecules are closer to each other. If you want to liquefy, what do you have to do? You have to bring the molecules closer, isn't it? Which will be in the gaseous state. You want to condense it. You want to liquefy it. That means you have to bring all the gaseous particles closer so that it gets converted into liquid state, right? So if the force of attraction is more, that means greater A value, that is the substance, or that those are the gases which can be liquefied easily. So that is what we are supposed to find out here. So here the molecules are close to each other as van der Waals constant is high here. Therefore, ammonia is the gas which can be liquefied easily. Whereas other, you see, the value is 0.244, 1.36, 3.59. Comparatively, ammonia can be liquefied easily. Moving on to the next question. Next question is, a gas such as carbon monoxide would be most likely to obey the ideal gas law at which conditions? So carbon monoxide, a gas like that of carbon monoxide, can behave ideally under what conditions? So we have studied under behavior of real gases, of which are the conditions, yet we'll see the options. Options are high temperature and high pressure. Option B, low temperature and low pressure. Option C, high temperature and low pressure. Option D, low temperature and high pressure. What should we see? We must see under what conditions the gas that of carbon monoxide behaves ideally. So if you remember, we had plotted a graph. Do you remember? This was for ideal gas, and different gases show different behavior. That is what we had seen, no? So for carbon monoxide, under what condition it shows ideal behavior? P versus V we had plotted, considering the temperature as well. Now, we know that at low pressure, we know that the answer is low pressure and high temperature. At low pressure, what happens? The space between the molecules are so large. At low pressure, when the pressure is less, the space between the molecules are so large that their volume is negligible. And at high temperature, what happens? At high temperature, the molecules are at constant random motion. They keep moving. Kinetic energy increases, because of which intermolecular, the force of attraction between the two molecules decreases because the molecule starts moving randomly, right? So at low pressure, the volume is negligible. At high temperature, the intermolecular force of attraction decreases, at that condition, this particular gases can behave ideally. Real gases can show ideal behavior. So the right option is high temperature and low pressure. This question was from 2015 pre-medical test paper. Let's move to the next question. 22nd question. At 25 degrees Celsius, and 730 mm pressure, 380 milliliter of dry oxygen was collected. If the temperature is constant, here what is told? Temperature is constant. If the temperature is constant, what volume of the oxygen occupy at 760 mm? At 760 mm pressure, what volume of gas will occupy? This is a question. We need to find what? Volume. Options: 365 ml, 2 gram, 10 gram, 20 gram. Now here, see which is the data given here. 730 mm pressure. P1 is given, V1 is given, P2 is given. V2 is what you have to find. So here it is V1. Sorry, this is P1, V1. This is P2. This is V2, which we have to find out. So which law is applicable here? Yes, it is Boyle's law. Boyle's law is applicable where the temperature is given as constant. At constant temperature, pressure is inversely proportional to volume. So we get it as P1 V1 is equal to P2 V2. Direct substitution it is. P1 is 730 mm, V1 is 380, P2 is 760, and V2 is what you need to find. That implies V2 is equal to 730 into 380 by 760. Solve it. You will get the answer as 765 ml. 730 is in mm. Here 760 again mm cancels ml. So 765 ml, which is the right answer. Option A is the right answer. We'll see the next question. Next question is 23rd one. Which one of the following molecules will form a linear polymeric structure due to hydrogen bonding? So they are asking which of the following can form a linear polymer-like or polymeric structure. Let us see the options. Options are NH3, ammonia, option B water, H2O, option C is HCl, and option D is hydrogen fluoride. So what are we supposed to see? We are supposed to see or check out which one can show linear polymeric structure. Start from ammonia. Whether ammonia can show a polymeric structure, it has covalent bonds, isn't it? It shows covalent bond formation. It does not show a linear polymeric like structure. Whereas water shows cage like structure, you know, right? Water or ice shows cage like structure. It does not show a linear polymeric structure. Whereas HCl, again, it doesn't have a covalent bond, so it cannot show a linear polymeric structure. Whereas hydrogen fluoride can show a polymeric structure. So it shows a polymeric structure this way. Hydrogen fluoride molecules can combine due to hydrogen bonding. They can combine and they can form polymeric like linear polymeric structure. So the right option is D. Note down. Here hope it's clear, though water has hydrogen bond, but here HF can form linear polymeric structure, whereas water, it does not form a polymeric structure. Instead, it shows a cage-like structure. Moving to the next question. Next question is, the surface tension of which of the following liquid is maximum? So what are we asked to find? Surface tension is maximum in which of the following? Option A, C6H6. Option B, H2O. Option C, C2H5OH. Option D, CH3OH. In this, you have to find where surface tension is maximum. See, surface tension will be maximum or high where there is more intermolecular force of attraction. So, surface tension is proportional to what? Intermolecular forces, right? If the intermolecular forces are greater, surface tension also will be greater. So here you have to see which bonding is stronger. When we observe, we know among all these, water shows hydrogen bonding, which will be stronger compared to the other bonds, where the intermolecular forces of attraction will be higher, because of which the surface tension also increases. You know, right, in surface tension what happens? The potential energy of the surface molecules and the molecules, surface molecules and the inner molecules will have a large difference. That is, potential energy will have a large difference, because of which surface tension will be more. In case of water, due to hydrogen bonding, surface tension increases. So the right option is water, because it's a dipole force of attraction that we see there. It is a strong form of dipole force. Next question. If an ideal gas expands at constant temperature, if an ideal gas expands at constant temperature, what does it indicate? Option A is number of molecules increase. Option B is kinetic energy decreases. Option C is pressure of gas increases. And option D is kinetic energy remains same. So the question is, when ideal gas is expanding, here it is related to kinetic energy and the movement of molecules. What happens when ideal gas expands at constant temperature is the question. So we know the relationship between temperature and kinetic energy, right? We have kinetic energy is equal to 3/2 kT, where K is Boltzmann constant. Boltzmann constant, and T is absolute temperature. So we know that kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. What is it telling? Ideal gas is expanded at constant temperature. That means temperature is constant. What does that tell you? Kinetic energy is proportional. Means if temperature is constant, kinetic energy is also constant. So kinetic energy remains same. D is the right answer. We'll see the next one. Next question is, what is the dominant intermolecular force or bond that must be overcome in converting liquid methanol to a gas? So when we convert liquid methanol to its gaseous form, then which bond has to be overcome, or which is the intermolecular force that has to be overcome? Options are London dispersion force, option B hydrogen bonding, option C dipole interaction, option D covalent bonds. So what is it? About methanol the question is asked. You know, in methanol, which force dominates here? Methanol. Right? Hydrogen bonding is observed. Which bond? Hydrogen bonding is observed. So which force has to be overcome if you have to convert liquid into gas? Well, converting liquid into gas, it is the bonding which is present in it has to be overcome. That means hydrogen bonding has to be overcome for the conversion. So option B is the right one. Next question. Next question is, the pressure exerted by 6 gram of methane, 6 gram of methane in 0.03 m cube vessel at 129 degrees Celsius is, and it is given the atomic masses of carbon is given as 12.01, hydrogen is given as 1.01, and the value for R is given as 8.314 joule per Kelvin per mole. These are the data that is given, and the options are 13409 Pascal, 41648 41,648 Pascal, 31,684 Pascal, and option D is 2,15,216 Pascal. These are the options. So now we have to see what is the data given to us. It comes under a concept of ideal gas, where 6 gram of methane is given, and you will have to calculate what? You are asked to calculate pressure. So what is given? Volume is given. Here the mass is given. Here pressure is to be calculated. So let us see how we can calculate. We know PV is equal to nRT. Here n refers to number of moles. What is given in the data? In the data it is given 6 gram of methane. That means they have given you a clue to find n. What is number of moles? Number of moles is given mass by molar mass. We can calculate it, isn't it? So number of moles of methane is given mass 6 by molar masses. For carbon, what is the molar mass? CH4. So it comes out to be 12 plus 4, but here it is given 12.01. It comes out to be 16.05. We have got what is N of CH4. Substitute the remaining data that is given. What is P here? Okay, let me write. PV is equal to given mass by molar mass RT, or P is equal to, we want to calculate pressure, so W by M RT by V. Let me write it here. So pressure is equal to given mass by molar mass into 8.314. Temperature is given what? 129 degree Celsius. Convert it into Kelvin, 402 by given volume. It comes out to be 647.7, which is 41,648 Pascal, which is option B. Option B is the right answer here. We'll see the next question. The next question is, the correct order of viscosity of the following liquids will be. So the order of viscosity is asked. This is from the liquid states of matter. The question is asked, and the options are water, methyl alcohol, dimethyl ether, glycerol. Second option is methyl alcohol, glycerol, water, dimethyl ether. Option C is dimethyl ether, methyl alcohol, water, glycerol. Option D, glycerol is less viscous than dimethyl ether, than water, then methyl alcohol. These are the options given. So now what you have to know is, when do you speak about viscosity? Again, viscosity depends on intermolecular force of attraction. So if the intermolecular force of attraction is more, that means the liquid will be highly viscous. So now among these, you just watch water, methyl alcohol, diethyl ether, glycerol or glycerin, you know, right? Which one is highly viscous? Just having a picture, you know, glycerol is highly viscous than water. Even if you look at, because it is trihydric alcohol, it has hydrogen bonds, 3 OH bonds it has. This is highly viscous. So first place goes to glycerol when it comes to viscosity. And then if you see where the hydrogen bond is stronger, it is water, where the hydrogen bond is stronger. So then comes water. And then you have methyl alcohol, then comes diethyl ether. So in which of these option it is told that glycerol is highly viscous, then comes water, then methyl alcohol and diethyl ether, it is in the option C. See, diethyl ether is less viscous than methyl alcohol, which is further less viscous than water, and water is less viscous than glycerol. So, C is the right option. Let us see next question. 29th. Which one of the following is the wrong assumption of kinetic theory of gases? So this question is related to kinetic theory of gases. So you will have to find out which one of the assumption is wrong. Wrong assumption you will have to find out. So let me write the options. Option A says momentum and energy remains conserved. Option B, pressure is result of elastic collisions of molecules with the walls. Molecules are separated by greater distances. Molecules are separated by greater distances. And option D is all molecules move in straight lines. All molecules move in straight lines between collision and with same velocity. See, this is a direct question. The question is based on the kinetic molecular theory of gas. So what is it telling us? It is telling us find out the wrong assumption or the wrong postulate from this particular options. Now, the first option says momentum and energy remains conserved. Yes, there is no energy change that is taking place and momentum remains conserved. So that is a right assumption. There is no fault in it. Whereas the option B says pressure is a resultant of, or it is a result of collisions of the gaseous molecules with the walls of the container. Yes, we know that the postulate tells pressure is exerted when there is elastic collision with the walls of the container. That is also the right one. Molecules have greater distances compared to their size. Yes, they possess distance between them. The gaseous molecules will have distance between them compared to their sizes. Isn't it? Their sizes are small, whereas the distance between them are large. Yes, it is true. Last one is molecules move in straight lines and with the same velocity, which is a wrong option. Yes, because though most of the time it may move in straight line, every time you cannot expect that it moves in straight line, because the molecules will be under constant random motion, and though you expect that they move in straight lines, they cannot have same velocity. During the collisions, the velocity may change, or when they collide with the walls of the container and bounce back, again the velocity can be changed. So you cannot expect that it will have same velocity and it will move in straight lines itself. So this option is the wrong option, which you had to mark. Let us see the last question of this paper. The question is, when temperature of an ideal gas increase from temperature of ideal gas increase from 27 degrees Celsius to 927 degrees Celsius, kinetic energy becomes what? Or how does kinetic energy vary? What is the question? It is an ideal gas. So the question is, temperature is changing from 27 degrees Celsius to 927 degrees Celsius. How is kinetic energy varying? So we know that kinetic energy options are 4 times B 5 times, option C 8 times, and option D 9 times. So you know kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature. So the question is of kinetic energy by giving the temperature. Let's convert this temperature into Kelvin. 27 degrees Celsius means in Kelvin it is 27 plus 273, which is 300 Kelvin. 927 degrees Celsius, 927 plus 273, it is 1200 Kelvin. Now we need to know how the kinetic energy is varying. We can take the ratio of these. This is T1, this is T2. We'll see T2 by T1. Since kinetic energy is directly proportional to temperature, so 1200 by 300 Kelvin, 4. That means kinetic energy varies 4 times. So these were the solutions for the test paper 3. All the best. Solve more number of questions. Thank you.